So while we're all still distracted and fighting amongst ourselves over the Charlie Kirk assassination and which direction the bullet came from, well, monsters like this are actually in the background changing the future of humanity. There is nothing bigger going on in the world right now than the digital IDs that are being rolled out globally. This is going to impact people's ability to work, people's ability to bank, people's ability to buy and sell, their ability to travel. You basically won't be able to exist in society or participate in any meaningful way if you don't get one of these digital IDs. Oh, but don't worry, guys. It's free.
I'm announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
That's right. You won't be able to work in the United Kingdom unless you get one of these digital IDs. But I know your biggest concern was how much is it going to cost to get the ID? And I hope this bag of mayonnaise has relieved any of those worries, because it's going to be free, guys. Thank God. Obviously, people's biggest fears are not that they're going to have their bank accounts shut down, like in Vietnam, where they erased 86 million bank accounts from people who refused the digital ID. This was in September. I'm sure people aren't worried about ever being able to travel back to Europe ever again to see family, nothing like that, without one of these IDs. That's not what we're worried about. This hard-boiled egg of a human wants to assure you they're going to be free, guys. Don't worry. All jokes aside, this is by far the most pressing issue that we're facing today. There is nothing more diabolical, more sinister, and more altering to the course of human history than these digital ID systems, which are actually going to be linked to AI systems and are basically going to run humanity from here on out. We have to do everything in our power to resist these systems and resist these tyrants. Once they have this control, it's over. It's over. So share this information, repost it, make your own posts about it, mobilize in the streets, mass resist, whatever it takes. We cannot let them do this to mankind.
Wait, hold up, let me get this straight. So one of the richest men on earth wants you to have a digital ID, and that's just the beginning. Larry Ellison, the owner of Oracle and now TikTok, not only said he wants our data centralized with an AI surveillance system, but he also said this.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything.
Citizens will be on their best behavior. That sounds like a very dark dystopian future. And speaking of citizens, these people are protesting as we speak in the streets of London with signs that say no to digital ID. And why does this seem like a bigger overall plan in Europe? Because not only they're pushing a digital ID, but a CBDC as well, a central bank digital currency, in which is being pushed by this woman, the president of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde.
Put to reality this digital euro. The deadline for us is going to be October of 25. And we all get...
This is why education is key, you guys. Here's a trick bag. So they don't want you buying Bitcoin and other decentralized protocols, but they want you to buy their crypto, a CBDC, controlled by them and only them. And if you guys don't think this can happen, well, it's already happening in China right now with digital IDs and a social credit score.
I once again cannot buy food. A couple days ago, my uncle and my cousin helped me get a cell phone that is linked to a Chinese bank card so that I could buy anything.
And if that's not bad enough, they even have facial recognition technology for kids to get inside their own schools. And I'll say it once and I'll say it again. They always put it in the movies. Remember that episode on Black Mirror years ago where they had a social credit score system? Well, surprise, surprise, it's here. Make sure you guys hit me up for consultations to get educated on what's going on, link in bio. But what do you guys think about all this? Let me know below.
Well, here's a little something that should make you think. Bill Gates declares the end of the smartphone era and unveils its surprising replacement. Let's see what the replacement is going to be of our smartphones. Bill Gates announces the conclusion of the smartphone age and unveils electronic tattoos as the next big innovation. Interesting, electronic tattoos. Here's a quote directly from Gates. The key advantage, these tattoos are integrated into the body. Imagine having a device embedded in your skin that lets you interact with the world through simple gestures or touch. It's sleek, unobtrusive, and possibly more intuitive than anything we've seen so far. The tattoos are powered by tiny nanocapacitors, and they don't require bulky batteries or displays, making them a far more subtle alternative to today's mobile devices. And let's see exactly what they'll be used for. A communication conduit facilitating messaging, internet browsing, and door unlocking. A health monitor observing metrics such as heart rate, body temperature, sleep patterns, and early illness detection. Also, a security apparatus functioning as a password, digital identification, or payment method. Call me crazy, but the mark of the beast will soon fall upon those who dwell on the earth. The technology is here. The technology is front of our eyes. Today is the day of salvation. Between Captain Brainchip over here and his Neuralink transmitter and Bill Gates' electronic tattoo, I think today would be a good day to put your faith and your faith alone in Jesus Christ.
So the latest in this dystopian outrage that is now all of China apparently is I once again cannot buy food. A couple days ago, my uncle and my cousin helped me get a
digital ID.
Cell phone that
Do
is
you want
linked
this?
to a Chinese bank card so that I could buy anything. But now, apparently, it has been flagged for some reason, and I have to pass facial recognition identity verification, which is insane, because all I want to do is just spend my gift card balance on this debit card.
Digital ID. Isn't it great? Now she's got to take a picture, look. Just about to buy something to eat. Total madness. I'm going to put something in comments. Just copy it and then paste it onto Google and it takes you straight to a thing you can send your MP. It's an email already drafted, so you don't want it.
Terrifying. And of course, because it was my cousin who set this up for me, I did not pass verification. I guess it's a good thing that the Chinese app is not racist. But now, I once again...
You know, my country was the first where they made cash illegal. 2016, digitalization was forced in the country. 8 o'clock in the evening announced midnight, cash was illegal, the big notes. And 70% of the economy crashed. This digitalization is now going all over the world, and there's a war on cash. They call it war on cash. Because cash is merely a medium of exchange. It has no value in itself. It's just a promise. You read the dollar note, it says, I promise to pay the bearer. When it's digital, even a credit card, you know, you're giving rents to the global financial system. But when it's cryptocurrency in the hands of algorithms, in the hands of big tech, they will do what is happening in China. Create social credit system to decide a new caste system. And you might have also followed that while all this has been happening, the founder of the World Economic Forum, did a book called The Great Reset on how to deal with the COVID crisis. And everything we're seeing unfold is part of that Great Reset. But an element of that Great Reset is you will own nothing. Now, I'm a believer in the commons. And it would be so good if all land was a commons, if all seed was a commons, if food was a commons, if health was a commons, so that we had strong public health systems, strong community health system, deep knowledge about being healthy. But when Paul Schwab says, you will own nothing, he's saying we'll own it all. That's why you have Gates, not just owning the seed, wanting to own our food. One, of course, controls the health, and now owning land. This, if ever there was a time for humanity to wake up, now is the
This issue to do with the technology and the digital infrastructure, I just want to emphasize how important I think that is. Because in the end, you need the data. You need to know who's been vaccinated and who hasn't been. Some of the vaccines that will come on down the line will be there'll be multiple shots. So you've got to have, for reasons to do with the healthcare more generally, but certainly for a pandemic or for vaccines, you've got to have a proper digital infrastructure, and many countries don't have that. In fact, most countries don't have that.
This is your wake-up call. The British government is pushing forward with plans for a national digital ID system. They've called it the Brit Card. And if that name doesn't send a chill down your spine, you have not been paying attention. It isn't just about proving who you are online. That all sounds rather lovely. This is about building a centralised, state-controlled digital identity system that could be used, will be used, to link your finances, your medical history, your travel movements, your social media activity, even your social activity in real life, and more. It's quite frankly a digital dog tag, and once it's clipped around your neck, you will not be able to take it off. So let's start with the basics. What is this Brit Card? According to leaked briefings and government statements, and frankly, any of us who've been paying attention knew this was coming, the Brit Card is going to act as a unified digital identification that every British citizen can use to access public services to prove their identity. And eventually, though they won't say this part out loud, link with your banking, your health, and your travel movements. Let's also not forget that we are already seeing the slow creep of programmable money. The Bank of England is working on a digital pound and has been for a few years. And there are active conversations now about linking spending capabilities to your digital identity. That means if your ID is flagged, limited, or suspended, I don't know, because maybe you said some hurty words on social media, that will mean you can't access your own money. Just let that sink in. The government already has a proven track record of making life extremely difficult.
There's a coordinated global policy push for digital IDs as the new form of government-issued identification credentials. And they're essentially all based on your biometric data, which can be your fingerprints, your face, the iris of your eyeball. And the idea is essentially to collect all of that data and have it housed or have it tied directly to your digital ID. So your physical ID will be mapped to the digital ID. Digital IDs are not really a separate project from CBDCs and this new digital financial system. And UN documentation and also documentation from the Bank of International Settlements, they very overtly state that CBDCs and digital IDs are meant to go together. And without digital IDs, the CBDC digital finance system cannot exist. One of the reasons it can't exist without that is because of the KYC functionality built into this digital financial system. They have the know your customer protocols. They have to know who you are. And so they want to have your wallet tied to a digital ID and have that digital ID be mapped to your physical ID through the biometric data collection. So there's different efforts to make digital IDs either as NFTs, non-fungible tokens. There's also the efforts of Sam Altman of OpenAI and his WorldCoin project, whereby you scan your iris, you give them the biometric credentials of your eyeball, they give you a unique identifier, a digital ID, and it's inherently tied to a digital wallet. That is the same model the UN is using. They've already implemented it for refugees getting food assistance from the World Food Program. It's called Building Blocks. It's on blockchain. It involves refugees scanning their irises, and in order to buy food or receive their rations, they have to check out of a grocery store style place in the refugee camp, and they check out biometrically with an eyeball scan, and then the amount of food they have, the monetary value of that is subtracted from their digital wallet connected to their digital ID and their iris. So ID 2020, the UN and other stakeholders in this particular sphere often argue that the reason this is necessary is because of what they call the identity gap. And the identity gap is the claim that the lack of digital ID is preventing people, mainly the world's poor, from accessing essential services, whether it's banking, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare. They claim the only way for these people to be able to access these services is to onboard them to these identity schemes.
Check this out.
So there are about 110 million Americans who have not chosen to do the Real ID, and all 110 of them and everybody else should choose never to do the Real ID. If you already have one, if you've got a gold star on, go and get a standardized driver's license. If you're afraid of flying, go get your passport. But do not take the Real ID, because the whole idea here, the state of Pennsylvania asked Trump to shut down this program. Yep. They called it a usurpation of states' rights. Yep. The federal government has taken over driving and identification over the entire country. And they're going to take all of your primary identification documents and keep them for themselves. You're going to have to give them your social security number, your birth certificate, and your marriage certificate, and they will hold them. They've never had them before. You are essentially recertifying yourself as an American, and then they want to put this and digitize it, put it on your phone, and be able to shut down your access anytime you do something they don't like. This is not a simple ID card, and this is probably going to move into the global UN identification system that the UN wants to create for the entire world. This is your opportunity to shut this down.